I want to ask you something uncomfortable. Is there something you believe, something you've always believed, something your family believed, something your community built its whole identity around that you've never actually questioned? Not because the evidence isn't there to question it, because questioning it would mean dismantling something, disappointing someone, becoming the person who broke the thing everyone needed to stay whole. A movie about a yeti who finds a human just asked me that question better than any philosophy class I ever sat through. I wasn't even slightly prepared for it. So here's the world. High above the clouds, literally above the clouds on a mountain peak surrounded by an endless sea of white, lives a village of yetis. Big, warm, woolly, completely certain about everything. Their whole society runs on stones. Not metaphorical stones, actual engraved stones that the Stonekeeper wears as a robe, each one carrying a sacred law. The laws explain everything, where they came from, why the mountain exists, what the clouds below are for, what happens if anyone breaks the rules. And one of those stones, one of the most important ones, says that Smallfoot don't exist. Smallfoot humans. The small, soft, two-legged creatures the yetis have legends about but have never seen. The stone says they're not real. And because the stone says it, because the Stonekeeper says it, because it has always been said, nobody questions it. Nobody except Migo. Migo is young and enthusiastic and deeply, deeply sincere. He loves his village. He loves the stones. He loves the order and the certainty and the warm collective feeling of everyone knowing exactly what everything means. And then one day, falling from the sky, he sees one, Smallfoot, real, undeniable, looking up at him with the same terror he's feeling looking down. And everything Migo thought he knew about the world just cracked. Here's where Smallfoot stopped being a fun, animated adventure and started being something I haven't been able to stop thinking about. Migo tells the village what he saw. And the Stonekeeper, this enormous, powerful, imposing figure who carries the weight of every sacred law, looks at this young yeti who is telling the truth and says, "The stone says Smallfoot don't exist. Therefore you didn't see one. Therefore you are mistaken." And Migo, who knows what he saw, who cannot unknow it, is cast out. For telling the truth. For seeing the thing that was supposed to be invisible. I've been Migo. Not about yetis, obviously. But that specific experience of knowing something true and being told by people you love and respect that you didn't know it. That the official version is the correct version and your own eyes are the problem. That is one of the most disorienting things a person can go through.
Oh.
The film follows Migo making his way below the clouds into the human world to bring back proof. And finding Percy, a wildlife documentary host who is one moment away from having his career canceled and desperately needs something extraordinary to save it. Percy and Migo finding each other, two creatures from completely different worlds, each one proof of everything the other was told doesn't exist, is the warm, beating heart of this film. And then Migo comes home with his proof, and the Stonekeeper tells him the truth. This is the scene that got me, really got me. The Stonekeeper isn't a villain. It's what the movie understands that a lesser film wouldn't. He knows the truth. He has always known the truth. He knows the stones are a constructed mythology, not facts, but stories. Stories that were built to keep the village safe, to keep the yetis hidden from humans who would fear and hunt them, to keep the community together through shared belief when shared reality would have been too frightening. He built the lie to protect the people he loved, and then the lie became the foundation of everything. And removing it, telling the truth, would bring the whole structure down. All the certainty, all the order, all the warm collective feeling of everyone knowing exactly what everything means, gone. And so he kept building on top of it, generation after generation, keeping the truth buried under more stones. I sat with that for a long time after the movie ended. Because how many of the structures we live inside were built the same way, with the best intentions? Out of genuine love and genuine fear. Stories that became laws, that became identity, that became the thing nobody is allowed to question because too much is sitting on top of it. The Stonekeeper isn't wrong that the truth is dangerous. He's wrong that dangerous truths should stay buried. That's the whole film in one scene. Is Smallfoot perfect? No. The musical numbers are hit and miss. Some of them land beautifully. Some of them slow the pace when the story is just getting interesting. The Percy storyline is a little thin in places. And the resolution as resolutions in animated films tend to be wraps things up tidier than real life ever does. But the core of this film is so genuinely brave and so carefully human that none of that diminishes it. It asks real questions about truth and community and the stories we tell to hold ourselves together, and it doesn't give easy answers. It just asks you to sit in the discomfort of not knowing for a while, of questioning without destroying, of being willing to see even when seeing is terrifying. That's not nothing. That's actually everything. If you've been carrying a question you've been afraid to ask about something you believe, something you were taught, something that holds the people around you together, and might not survive being looked at too closely, this movie won't answer it for you. But it will sit with you in it, quietly, warmly, without judgment. And sometimes, that's exactly what you need before you're ready to look. Watch it with someone you trust. Someone you could have that conversation with after the credits roll. If this kind of video is your thing, stories that ask the real questions underneath the big colorful surface, subscribe and stay. I'll always be here finding the uncomfortable truth inside the comfortable story. See you next time.